A letter written by George Harrison expressing his love for the ukulele was brought in by the guest. The guest, a ukulele enthusiast, had published a book on the instrument. At a music trade show, a friend of George Harrison visited his booth and mentioned George's interest in seeing their ukulele collection. Incredibly, George Harrison himself showed up at the guest's house a few days later. They spent hours playing ukuleles together, culminating in the guest's request for George to write a short note about his love for the ukulele. The letter itself is charming and reflects George Harrison's personality. He ended by signing it George Keoki Harrison, his Hawaiian nickname that meant farmer. There was also a little doodle of a pig at the bottom. The letter's value stemmed from both its sentimental value to the guest and its historical significance as a piece written by a famous musician. While a standard letter from this period by George Harrison might be valued at...
A standard letter written from this period is probably from George Harrison $2,000 to $3,000.
The unique content and the pig doodle significantly increased the estimated value to...
I would put an estimate at auction of $5,000 to $7,000 on this letter.
Wow.
I would insure it for no less than $10,000.
Wow.
On display today is a majestic dagger accompanied by its equally impressive scabbard. Our guest's father had lent a helping hand to an elderly gentleman who in turn bestowed this treasure upon her as a token of gratitude. With a history dating back to the mid-19th century, circa 1850, this remarkable piece was forged in the ancient land of Persia, now modern-day Iran. The presence of human figures on the grip offers a distinctive fingerprint of its history, allowing us to verify its origins with certainty.
It was considered profane to make the human image. And it wasn't until the Qajar dynasty in particular that, because there's nothing in the Quran that prohibits it.
This esteemed piece is commonly referred to as a jambiya, an Arabic term for dagger, thanks to its distinctive curved design. The grip is expertly carved from walrus ivory.
The good thing about it being walrus ivory as opposed to elephant ivory is that it comes with fewer restrictions on selling it. Walrus ivory is regulated under the Marine Mammals Protection Act.
Lavish decorations on this dagger suggest it was crafted more for aesthetic appeal than for battlefield practicality. Complementing this exceptional masterpiece is a striking leather-clad wooden scabbard. These remarkable pieces have been exceptionally well preserved and would have a significant auction estimate of...
At auction, it would probably make somewhere between $5,000 to $7,000.
$5,000 to $7,000?
Yeah. Without the scabbard, I would think that the value is only $3,000 to $5,000. It really elevates the value.
Yeah.
The guest arrived bearing a treasure trove from the dawn of the space age, a Mercury Atlas archive. This cherished piece, a testament to her father's service in the Navy, was bestowed upon him as an award in October of 1963. The artifact was a marvel of elegance, a polished plate adorned with two slender aluminum tubes. The appraiser explained with a hint of reverence that these were recovery capsules for the Mercury spacecraft.
For the support of the Mercury mission, right here, Project Mercury, May of 1963.
Etched proudly atop the plate lay the numbers 8 and 9, a silent chronicle of participation in two daring missions. There is an amazing photo that depicts her father, resplendent in his Navy uniform, a silent but proud participant in this historic chapter. They weren't for life support, but for testing a different, critical element of spaceflight. With a smile, the appraiser unveils the fascinating tale behind missions 8 and 9.
These were also two really impressive missions. One was a 9-hour test mission with Wally Schirra, and that was one of the longest missions at the time. The next mission with Gordon Cooper was 34 hours in length.
Infusing this seemingly archaic object with a newfound layer of intrigue.
And what happened after that is the capsule would come down, it would deploy a parachute.
What would be the value of this whole archaic?
$60,000 to $90,000.
Okay. Wow. Wow. I had no idea. No idea whatsoever. That's amazing.
This Rolex Daytona Cosmograph was brought to the show by a guest who had inherited it from his dad. The watch was given the name Panda Dial because of its black and white color scheme, as well as its 3 subdials displaying different timing intervals, along with an outer tachymeter scale lining the outer ring. Additionally, the watch features a manual wind mechanism that produces a distinctive clicking sound and a screw-down waterproof crown, which is typical of Rolex watches with reference number 6263. Its serial number indicates that the watch was made in 1978. Color combination and the perfect condition of this watch place it among the most sought after by watch collectors, and the appraiser values it at around $95,000 to $100,000.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
This beautiful clock was passed to the guest as a family heirloom. The clock was manufactured in Haverhill, New Hampshire by John Osgood.
John Osgood, interesting clockmaker. He was born in Andover, Massachusetts.
The guest mentioned seeing names inside the clock indicating repair or maintenance work, but beyond that, his knowledge was limited. The appraiser also noted various restoration efforts on the clock, including additions to the dial and changes to the case.
All the numbers have been relined and the signature has been strengthened underneath that.
The extensive restoration efforts on the clock dial raised suspicions that it was still John Osgood's clock. It was, and it had a stamp and serial number on the back. However, the restoration process decreased the value significantly.
But this clock would probably sell at auction in the $800 to $1,000 range.
The guest expressed acceptance of this evaluation.
Sure, all right. And that's okay.
The guest brought Big Bronco coin-operated horse to the show, which he purchased at the rate of $75. In 1952, the Big Bronco coin-operated horse was introduced, capturing the imagination of children and adults alike. Standing tall and majestic, it was a symbol of the American West, complete with a saddle and reins for an authentic riding experience. Its lifelike movements mimicked those of a real horse, adding to the thrill of the ride. The horse was designed with intricate attention to detail, from its mane to its hooves, creating a realistic appearance. Riders could control the horse's speed and direction, making each ride customizable and exciting. It quickly became a popular attraction in arcades, amusement parks, and other entertainment venues across the country. Its sturdy construction ensured durability, withstanding countless rides over the years. Despite advancements in technology, the charm of Big Bronco has endured, maintaining its appeal through generations. Today, vintage models are sought after by collectors, serving as nostalgic reminders of a bygone era. The appraiser values it at,
I think in this surface, the way it sits at auction, we'd put an estimate of it of $1,500 to $2,500.
Excellent.
Good. Shall we see it play?
Sure.
All right. We drop the coin in here, which triggers it.
And there goes Big Bronco.
A piece of pottery was showcased by the guest, who received it from her aunt about 35 years ago. The aunt purchased the item from a thrift shop in Queens, New York for $5. The appraiser identified it as a humidor.
This is very often the giveaway for humidor, as it is open, has little holes, so you can put a sponge, a wet sponge, to keep your tobacco products moist.
With marks on the bottom indicating Frederick Sturgis Lawrence as the decorator. The pottery had a beautiful painting with Rookwood standard glaze. The appraiser mentioned that Rookwood was best known for its glossy, amber color finish over painted designs.
And Rookwood pottery purchased from the Bureau of American Ethnology photographs of Native American chiefs, and they would copy those and put those on the vessels like this.
The piece featured Rookwood's flame mark, indicating the year 1898 when it was made. There was also the title and artist's signature, confirming it as a humidor. Considering the pristine condition, the value estimated by the appraiser was,
if you were to put this at auction, would probably be somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000, maybe up to $2,500.
This unassuming painting has been a cherished family heirloom for decades. The artwork dates back to the 1960s, a vibrant creation by Jamini Roy, a renowned Indian artist. Roy's unique style, blending classical training with folk traditions, is evident in the piece. It entered the family in 1960, acquired directly from Roy's studio in Bombay. The appraiser identifies the medium as gouache on paperboard. The simplicity of the painting, a hallmark of Roy's work, reflects the era in which it was created. This very quality, the appraiser notes, is highly sought after by the collectors today. The owner recalls their family likely paying around $75 to $80 for the artwork. The appraiser mentions the rising popularity of Roy's work and the increasing significance of Indian art in the global market. Hence, she delivers the valuation, a staggering $7,000 to $9,000 at auction.
I would be estimating it between $7,000 and $9,000 at auction.
That's very much of a surprise, but nice to hear.
What we have here is the Tiffany Studios inverted hanging shade brought to the show by our guest, who inherited it from her parents. This fascinating piece measures 33 inches in diameter and was made with a distinctive type of glass with some Aztec-style design around the edge, particularly attributed to Tiffany. The hardware design includes sockets attached to the arm, a pipe that goes up to the hanging shade, along with hanging chains, and support rods that holds the shade together. The most interesting aspect of this piece is its unique type of glass and the lack of finishes, indicating it was among the earliest Tiffany designs, dating back to around 1901. Interestingly, the attention to detail and the fact that this piece is unsigned substantiate its originality. The appraiser values it at around $100,000 to $150,000.
Good to know.
The guest purchased The First Men in the Moon from a local bookseller. This book was a first edition, originally published in 1901 in Indianapolis, Indiana. The guest pulled off a stroke of genius by getting the book signed by the first person to set foot on the moon. You got that right. He got the autograph of Mr. Neil Armstrong on the book. The best thing was that Mr. Neil Armstrong had written a personalized wish for the guest, so the book became a beautiful fusion of sci-fi and reality. The appraiser estimated the book to be worth between $3,000 to $5,000. However, the guest insisted that the book would remain in the family because of its value. This beautiful clock and vase are vintage Lalique pieces designed by René Lalique in 1924. René Lalique transitioned from jewelry to glassmaking, becoming a prominent figure in the 20th century design. The guest acquired the clock, named as Moinu, or Sparrows, from a woman in Australia who inherited it from her grandmother and obtained the vase, named Salon, from a flea market.
And then when I looked at it, I saw René Lalique on the bottom.
So how much did you pay for it?
I paid a few $100s for it.
The clock features the letters ATO, indicating clockworks made by the French company. It also bears the name of a specific retailer and the mark Made in France. The vase showcases Lalique's signature wheel-cut marking. Presence of the significant damage in the clock and cracks in the vase significantly diminish their respective values.
But I'm afraid your Ceylon is not worth any more today than perhaps $500 at auction.
Oh, really?
The clock holds a retail value of $800, and
I would say today at auction, it would sell for perhaps as much as $500 to $700.
Okay.
the guest brought in this framed collection of photographs showcasing scenes from a typical American life. The collection is a family record containing photographs and names of the Hughes family members. It showed several phases of their life, from the childhood days to courtship, going to school, wedding, and other scenes. This is a type of calling card known as carte de visite, a French term. The photographs used two different techniques. The brownish images were carte de visite calling cards, while the darker ones were tintypes, a unique type of portrait photograph. The key within the frame provided clues to the date, placing it in the 1860s or 1870s. These pictures of children are particularly charming and would be very valuable if sold individually. However, the true worth of this piece comes from its completeness. Being in its original frame and showcasing such a wonderful example of vernacular photography, it transcends the value of individual photographs. While the guest only paid $60 for this treasure, the current estimated value in a gallery setting is...
I would imagine a work like this would be somewhere between $1,200 and $1,400.
Oh, amazing. Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
A seasoned thrifter found this captivating picture of a snowy landscape at a thrift store on a scorching day. The image offered a welcome sense of coolness, and the guest felt drawn to it. The artwork is a rare etching titled Snow and Adobe by Jean Kloss, a Bay Area artist who fell in love with New Mexico. She had a career that spanned more than 6 decades and made more than 600 etchings, of which this particular one is among the top 5. This particular etching, created in 1934, was one of only 35 impressions ever made, making it incredibly scarce. She signed it in pencil in the lower right. titled it lower left in pencil as well. The guest had initially debated buying the piece because of its cheap frame and rudimentary backing. She later discovered its true value when a gallery offered $2,000 for it, an offer they politely declined. The estimated current value of this etching is
at $10,000.
$1? $10,000?
Petite timepiece, known as a grandmother clock, descended to our guest from her great aunt. The term grandmother's clock emerged due to its smaller size, previously known as dwarf clocks.
We're looking for a tag name in order to sell a smaller version.
All right.
And everybody's grandmother is a little smaller than their grandfather, and as a result, that name stuck.
This particular clock showcases exquisite craftsmanship with a design reminiscent of 1790s Liverpool styles. Notably featuring intricate carvings and fluted columns, it was likely sold in upscale establishments, akin to those in New Orleans. Crafted around 1900 with an English movement, this clock operates with an 8-day quarter striking movement. Its original works and dial, possibly crafted by Elliot, suggest top-tier craftsmanship from a reputable London firm. The clock's originality and exceptional quality hint at a legacy of timeless elegance and fine craftsmanship.
Would probably sell for around $5,500 to $6,000.
Wow, that's great.
Isn't that great?
You.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It's just such a beautiful clock. It really is.
A well-worn armchair that had been in her family since the 1950s was brought in by the guest. Her parents, who were teachers, bought the chair in Denmark as part of their first furniture set when they got married. The chair traveled with the guest throughout her life, from Texas to California and finally to Alaska. The chair is identified as a GE 240, designed by the famous Danish furniture designer Hans Wegner in 1955. Interestingly, the chair is nicknamed a cigar chair due to the shape of the arms. While the chair showed signs of wear and tear, this was only normal for its age and didn't significantly affect the value. In fact, some minor repairs like reupholstering could even increase the value. The back is interesting, not necessarily quintessential Hans Wegner. It's a little more narrow and more vertical, which is a feature people liked about it. The most surprising aspect of the appraisal was the value itself. Due to the high demand for Hans Wegner furniture, the estimated worth of the chair is to be...
So value-wise, at auction, just the chair would probably bring $4,000 to $6,000.
No way. No way. It's a chair. Are you serious?
The guest found a dramatic print of the Battle of Gettysburg at a yard sale for just $50. The image resonated with her because of a childhood trip to the battlefield with her grandparents. The print is an 1872 engraving by John Sartain, based on a much larger painting by Peter F. Rothermel commissioned by the state of Pennsylvania. The engraving depicted the pivotal moment of the battle, the repulse of Pickett's charge by the Union troops. It was known for its historical accuracy, even though the artist took some artistic liberties with the inclusion of certain figures. Despite some water damage, the print's rarity and historical significance made it valuable. At auction, it's valued at...
Retail shop, I think you'd probably put about $1,800 on it.
Okay.
The guest brought in a treasure trove of baseball memorabilia, each piece whispering stories of their father, Lonnie Frey's remarkable 14-year career in Major League Baseball. Frey's journey began with the Brooklyn Dodgers, a bat from his early years there serving as a reminder of his fledgling steps in the big leagues. An all-star bat from 1941 highlighted his achievements, while a bat commemorating Joe Jackson spoke of his admiration for the baseball icon. Most of Frey's success came during his time with the Cincinnati Reds. The guest shared how witnessing Johnny Vandermeer's back-to-back no-hitters in 1938 was one of his father's most cherished baseball memories. The collection also included memorabilia from his 2 World Series appearances with the Reds. The crown jewel of the collection, however, was a World Series championship ring from Frey's time with the New York Yankees in 1947. It was estimated to be worth
$15,000 to $20,000.
The total value of the collection was estimated to be around
$25,000 to $30,000.
It's wonderful. And
however, in a recent auction, the collection was valued for $35,000 to $75,000.
The guest family heirloom was a painting that had been in their family for years. Originally, it was owned by the guest's great-grandmother, dating back to the early 1900s. The appraiser identified it as a watercolor on paper by Olaf Karl Seltzer. Initially, Seltzer started painting as a hobby and later became friends with a renowned Western artist named Charles Russell.
So he became very good friends with Russell, and Russell decided he was going to teach Olaf how to paint. By about 1901, so very soon after he met Russell, he was a pretty good and confident painter.
The particular painting bore Seltzer's signature and was dated 1905. This piece was one of the artist's early works. Considering its historical significance and quality, the estimated value of the painting was...
An auction estimate today for this size work in watercolor by Seltzer would be $8,000 to $12,000.
Wow. This French strongbox was a wedding gift to the guest's grandparents. This is a Boulay inlay or brass inlay and is named after the designer, Andrew Charles Boulay, who did inlays in the 17th century. Inside the box, there's the name Louis Aucoq, who started a firm in 1823, and engraved is a writing, "By appointment to the king." Then an address is added and a date, 1827, which was in the reign of Charles X. There should be a lining in the interior, but it was not found, and there are clips made of mahogany, while the rosewood clips were for coins. This is a traveling strongbox. On closing it, there is a brass inlay around the sides, a coat of arms, and a crest. There was no explanation for the crest, which could have increased the value. Although it lacks some elements, such as the interior tray liners, this item would sell at auction for $5,000 to $7,000. But if it was in perfect condition, an auction estimate would be around
$15,000 to $25,000.
Our guest brought a collection of boxing cards inherited from his grandfather, who was both a boxer and a promoter. He possesses 21 out of the 26 T9 Turkey Red cabinet cards from 1910 to 1911. Coupons were included in packs of Turkey Reds, allowing collectors to send them in for specific boxers. Notable boxers in the collection include Abe Attell, known as the Little Champ, as well as Sam Langford and Stanley Ketchel. Present among the collections is Jim Jeffries, the world heavyweight champion, alongside Jack Johnson, a legendary figure considered the most significant boxer. The cards remain in excellent condition with vibrant color lithography. The set is highly collectible due to the quality of boxers and visual appeal.
If I were going to put the collection in an auction, I'd appraise it at somewhere in the $1,000 to $1,500 range.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in this condition. Very cool. Great collection.
Well, thanks for the information.
The guest presented a toy that originally belonged to his father and dated back to around 1890. The appraiser commented on the toy's well-used condition. The toy was made of cast iron and manufactured by a company named Wilkins. The company produced a wide range of toys, including trains, cars, trucks, plows, and mowers. Due to their intricate design and craftsmanship, the toys were popular among children and collectors. The particular piece was called a Wilkins sickle bar mower. Due to its extensive play and wear, the estimated worth of the item was
worth about $400 to $500, but
that's more than I thought it was.
I'm sure it is.
A hair art piece found at an antique store was brought in by a guest. This decorative item, made from hair, was likely created for the Lewis and Clark Exposition, also known as the Portland Centennial Exposition, in 1905. The piece is an interesting example of mourning jewelry, where hair from a deceased loved one was used to create sentimental keepsakes. In this case, however, the long blonde hair suggested it wasn't mourning jewelry, but rather a piece made to commemorate the Lewis and Clark Exposition, possibly by a young girl who donated a significant amount of her hair. The scarcity of items related to the Lewis and Clark Exposition, coupled with the unique nature of hair art, led to the estimated value of the piece at...
I would put a value on this of about $1,500 to $2,000.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much.
The guest presented an amazing piece that carries a fascinating connection to royalty. It's a Russian Imperial Guard painting, an invaluable legacy.
At some point in his life, he was in the Russian military.
This beautiful painting depicts the guest's maternal grandfather, whose role was to safeguard the bedroom door of the Tsarina.
First of all, this is an inscription here, which does in fact confirm what you're saying.
The guest affirms the painting's significance within their family, stating that its story has already captivated their son. The appraiser shared an interesting story behind this intriguing piece.
So the Lifeguard Brigade was a group of soldiers who were tasked with protecting the lives of the royals.
The inscription reveals that it belonged to the lifeguards of the 1st Artillery Brigade, a notable position within the Tsar's military. Indeed, it's a piece of history that deserves to be cherished, passing down its story through generations. A conservative estimate places its auction value at,
I would say a conservative auction estimate on it would be about $1,000 to $2,000.
Guest purchased this item in 1980 from a friend with a gallery in Palm Beach, Florida, and received it as part of a divorce settlement in 1985. It is a color etching by Salvador Dali from the Song of Songs of Solomon series.
And it's one of 12 different etchings he made to illustrate that portfolio, which appeared in 1971.
The portfolio typically has 12 different images illustrating the text, and Dali would have signed and numbered the portfolio on the last page. The individual prints were not typically signed by Dali.
You also have an even more suspicious EA down here in the lower left in pencil, and that is a French abbreviation for approved artiste.
However, the appraiser believes this print to be 100% authentic based on its characteristics. The color is stenciled on, and there's an addition of gold dust, which are not typically seen on forged prints. The appraiser suggests removing the signature to increase the value of the print, estimating its value at auction to be around $1,000 to $1,500.
Wow. Okay.
This jewelry set is more than it seems at first glance, as it embodies the elegance of mid-20th century design.
The style influencing it is very much retro, World War II period. The ring could have been made a little bit after that, into the early 50s. It's got what we call calibrated sapphires. Those are those little square-cut sapphires.
This ring features a stunning 1.80 carat center sapphire, and it is surrounded by calibrated square-cut sapphires and old mine diamonds. The meticulous craftsmanship is evident in the teardrop platinum work on the shank and shoulders, which adds an extra touch of beauty to this piece. Accompanying this ring is a matching bracelet, which showcases a combination of calibrated square sapphires and old mine diamonds set in palladium, a metal commonly used during wartime due to its similarity to platinum but lighter weight.
In this bracelet, you have about 2.5 carats of sapphires and about 1.5 carats of diamonds. In the other piece, we figured 1.80 carat for the center sapphire.
Together, these exquisite pieces of jewelry would auction for,
at auction, the bracelet's $4,000 to $6,000. Okay, and then we give you a price at auction for the ring. I would say $10,000 to $12,000.
Really?
Seriously.
Oh my goodness!
This Hanukkah lamp was given to the guest's father for his bar mitzvah in Germany on April 1, 1933. This was the same day when Hitler's anti-Jewish measures were first enforced. Despite the hardship faced by the guest grandparents and father while trying to leave Germany in 1938, they made sure to keep the piece safe. This Hanukkah lamp was crafted in the early 20th century. It was made from 800 fine silver and adorned with symbolic motifs such as lions, the ark, and a crown typical of Hanukkah lamps. However, it lacked the shamash, a central candle holder. The appraiser estimated its value at approximately $3,500 for insurance purposes, despite the missing shamash. The guest expressed surprise at its value, but pledged to cherish and preserve it.
Really? I mean, it's not that important, but I'm surprised.
These pot-hast pieces hold a special place in the guest's heart, given to her and her husband 40 years ago and inherited from her father. Pot-hast, a favorite son of Cincinnati in the 19th and 20th centuries.
He studied in Germany, he studied in Paris, and in Paris he becomes involved with what was called the Grès art colony.
Led him to embrace Impressionism by the late 19th century. The painting, a colorful Impressionist piece, features a lake with sailboats, showcasing Pot-hast's renowned beach scenes. It measures 12 by 16 inches, a standard size for his paintings. The sketches, though labeled as such, are more likely fully realized studies.
This one shows small vignettes of the children on the beach, executed with pencil.
The back of the work reveals more studies, including infants and various figures, showcasing Pot-hast's craftsmanship and thought process in creating his figures. One of the pieces was appraised in 1974 for $2,000 to $3,000. Today, the painting is valued at $15,000 to $25,000, and the sketch at $6,000 to $8,000 for auction purposes, potentially valuing the whole set at $20,000 to $30,000 for auction purposes.
Oh my word, that's amazing.
This painting of the Porte Saint-Denis, a Parisian landmark, holds a rich history and a remarkable artistic value. Painted by Czechoslovakian artist Emil Artur Longen.
He was a director, a painter, a writer, and he was an actor.
The painting was acquired by the guest mother-in-law from a dear friend in Salt Lake City in the 1950s. The artist was born in the Austro-Hungarian Empire in 1885 and passing away in the Czech Republic in 1936. He spent time in Paris in 1919, where he created this stunning piece depicting the bustling streets of Paris. The painting's brushwork is particularly impressive, with staccato brushstrokes capturing the essence of a summer day in Paris. Longen's works have fetched prices ranging from $2,000 to $20,000 at auctions, with this painting being considered one of his best works. The painting's estimated value at auction ranges from $30,000 to $50,000.
This charming folk art doll, dating from around 1885, originally belonged to the guest's grandmother, making it approximately 120 years old. Primitive folk art dolls of this era are quite rare, and this one is particularly special due to its excellent preservation. The doll retains all its original clothes and its original body, showcasing the authenticity and craftsmanship of the period. Its endearing appearance adds to its appeal, and on the retail market, this delightful piece would fetch
$1,200 and $1,500.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Really?
In America, this intricate art form took on a new life with crests and pieces. This filigree crest was a gift to the guest from her aunt before she passed away.
So I tried to do some research on that, and it's a crest from the families of Jackson and Phillips. And when I did some of my research on that, I found a Jackson family that had married into the Shapley family, and so that's how it came down to me.
Dating back to 1734, this item was crafted from paper in America. It consists of tightly wound papers arranged side by side. Furthermore, it bears the combined coat of arms of two families.
Is wound very tightly and inserted in next to each other. You do have the two coats of arms coming together.
On the left side, we see the arms of the lion rampant under the name Philip, and on the right side is the arms of the lion rampant under the name Jackson. Although made from paper, this crest has been wonderfully preserved. This crest served not just as a decorative piece, but as a significant part of American history, and it's estimated to be worth...
We think an auction estimate should be in the range of $30,000 to $50,000.
Well, happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to you.
This lamp is a family heirloom with a vague history. The guest's husband inherited it from his grandmother.
It's my husband's lamp, and it was given to him by his grandmother in the mid-1970s, and she had had it previously, but I don't know when she received it or who she got it from.
The lamp was crafted and designed by Dirk Kopperlager van Erp, a Dutch-American artisan and prominent figure in the arts and crafts movement. Known for his copper lamps with mica shades, this lamp is a perfect example. The shade is made from copper and formed into a cone with paper-thin mica. The lamp bears the artist's hallmark, verifying its authenticity.
Furthermore, the patina, that patination, that brown coating on this is standard Van Erp patina, rich, silky, deep brown. So all the elements of this lamp are classic Van Erp.
A penetration in the mica shade affects its value, which is estimated at
auction between $6,000 and $9,000. Wow.
Best known for his female portraits, Olinsky's style tended towards impressions. He was a Russian Empire-born American painter and art instructor.
Ivan Olinsky was born in Russia and immigrated to the United States. In fact, did study at the Art Students League in New York.
On the contrary, this particular painting is not a female portrait, but a depiction of the beautiful scene of the Plaza San Marco. This painting features multiple inscriptions indicating that it was a gift from Olinsky to his patron, as a token of gratitude for her friendship and support. Given that this painting is oil on canvas board and remains in its original frame, at auction would fetch.
For auction, I would probably estimate it at between $4,000 and $6,000.
That's nice.
Guest shared items from her grandfather's shoe store in Postville, Iowa, which operated until 1952. These items included advertising pieces and toys given to children with their shoes. The first item was a Dr. Scholl's piece, a stunning example of a proprietor's stock dispenser from the 1920s. Next, the appraiser examined a bagatelle, an early precursor to the pinball machine from the 1930s. This particular piece was notable because advertising bagatelles were rare. The rest of the materials were related to Paul Power shoes. It included a small window display sign, a chalkware parrot, whistles, clickers, little banks, and rolling toys. Each item's value was assessed by the appraiser.
$3,800 to close to $5,000 for just this.
Okay. The endowment on this clock will attract any buyer to make a purchase. This piece is a Meissen porcelain clock acquired by the guest's mother through a black market trade. The clock, made circa 1885, features a wonderful French movement, but its true beauty lies in the exceptional quality of its Meissen case.
It's an exceptional case. The figures are so well struck and painted. It's one of the best I've ever seen.
The dial is free of hairline fractures, and the delicate flowers and figures, often prone to damage, remain in fantastic condition. This level of preservation is rare, which adds significantly to its value that's worth
$10,000 to $15,000. 10 to 15. 10 to 15,000. It's come a long way since 1982.
Before the advent of refrigeration, this item was used in American kitchens to store foodstuffs. Known as a crock, this item was made for a Mr. Chappelle, whose name is inscribed on it.
Have you tried to do any research on Chappell at all?
He had a general store in Kentucky. He lived to about 1880, 1890. That's all I know.
The time this crock was made can be said to be circa 1880. It was made in western Pennsylvania, which was known as one of the major production areas for these kinds of items.
The crock manufacturers would take orders from people who were retailers, and Mr. Chappell ordered this 10-gallon crock.
This crock is made of stoneware, a durable, economical ceramic that remains watertight even without a glaze. A manufacturing flaw known as a dimple can be seen on the crock, as well as some designs etched on it, which also serve to add beauty to its craftsmanship. This crock is a fine example of well-crafted pottery, and due to the history it represents, would be valued at...
So a good auction value of this would be around $2,000.
What? I'm not going to say, oh wow, but oh wow. Wow, really?
The guest brought in a metal bear given by her uncle, originally belonging to her great-grandfather. The appraiser identified it as a bronze bear cub made by Anna Hyatt Huntington, a prominent sculptor of the 20th century, renowned for her prolific work. Anna Hyatt had a significant influence as a female artist. She had an amazingly long career and was active for more than 70 years until her death in 1973. The appraiser noticed the mark of Gorham Foundry on the piece, indicating that the bear was marked as number 4 out of 138 models cast by Gorham, likely around 1910. Considering the historical significance and craftsmanship, the appraiser valued the bear at around...
I would think for insurance purposes, you want to think of a figure at around $5,000.
Okay.
To most grown-ups, a bunny is just a toy, but to a child, it is a companion, a confidant, and a source of comfort. This guest got it for his son's first Easter celebration. The piece was made by Lionel Company, an American toy manufacturer, and holding company of retailers that was founded in 1900.
Another big factor about this is that they made 2 different boxes for this. And this is very plain, but it's the more unusual of the 2 that they just made for Easter. Oh.
Lionel specialed in various products throughout its existence, but toy and model railroads were its main claim to fame. Serving as a symbol of love and connection, this piece would sell for...
So we roll that all together, and drum roll please, what we come up with is about $1,000 to $1,200.
Oh my goodness, for this little toy?
Exactly.
Oh, I'm stunned.
This painting was passed down to the guest from his mother-in-law. The piece likely dates from between 1800 and 1830. It depicts a serene riverside scene featuring 2 children playing and 2 adults engaged in conversation. Although it bears similarities to several American paintings of the same period and quality, it is more likely English in origin. The distinction in value between American and English artworks of this style is significant. For instance, an American painting of similar quality and age, such as one known to be from Philadelphia with verified provenance, might be worth $30,000 to $40,000. However, this English piece, despite its comparable artistic merit, would likely fetch.
As an English sampler, it would probably sell for about $3,000 to $5,000 at retail.
Great.
So it pays to be American.
That's terrific, though.
This 1937 Martin guitar, model D18, belonged to the guest's father, who purchased it new from a music store in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
So you remember the instrument being around the house as a child?
Yeah. I was never allowed to touch it.
This model, known for its simplicity and minimal ornamentation, has become highly desirable among professional musicians over time. Despite having some alterations, including filled holes on the top, repairs on the side, and some finish touch-ups, the instrument remains free of cracks and is structurally sound. The quality of the repair work has kept it in excellent playing condition. While alterations typically affect a guitar's value significantly, the prized sound of the Martin D18 ensures it still holds substantial worth, and it's valued at...
It's a very nice thing, very desirable. I think its value would be $12,000 to $14,000. It is the right year and the right model. If it were...
Guest found this beauty in Georgetown, a desk with a charming story. It's from England's George III period. Its unique top flips open, revealing a leather reading stand that adjusts for comfortable reading. It has many names, from tambour front desk to bureau. The hidden details impress. Even the secondary wood is mahogany. Fancy marble-like paper inside adds a touch of elegance. It's not perfect, though. See those missing corner decorations. Looks like the legs might have had something extra on the bottom, too. Today, at auction, it could fetch...
If you were to see this in a retail setting in its current condition, it would maybe be $3,500 or $4,000.
In a store, it might even go for...
with minor investment and cleaned up, it could be as much as $5,000.
What you notice at first glance of this item is a huge size. This canoe is one of the rarest items seen on the Roadshow. It was carved from stone tools, and the wood used is pine. Despite how old the canoe looks, the item is quite strong and durable, maintaining its longevity. This is a beautiful wooden masterpiece, and at auction, it would retail at the price of...
The last one I saw with the price on it was between $1,500 and $2,000. Mainly who wants them are museums that deal with American Indian culture.
Found in the mountains, this buffalo robe has a story to tell.
He felt like since it was just sitting in his closet that we would do better to have it as a piece of decoration.
Buffalo robes provided warmth, food, and shelter to Native Americans back in the day. This geometric design is called a box and border. To be authentic, a buffalo robe needs specific features. Seeing repairs made with cotton thread, not sinew, is a red flag.
Buffalo, which is what this is,
okay, good.
was critical to the Indians' existence. It gave them shelter, it gave them food, it gave them warmth. And this is a buffalo robe.
Design is close, but the tanning feels off. It might be a home job. It's a charming 20th century replica, still a great find. Decorative pieces like this are rare.
First of all, when the buffalo is skinned and it's tacked out and it's dried and scraped.
Real buffalo robes can be worth millions, but this one is still a great find at $300. Even as a replica, at auction, it could fetch...
On the decorative market, I think this piece is easily worth $1,000 to $2,000.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Well, what we have here is an elegant piece of Japanese porcelain. It's called Hirado ware. The beautiful blue and white decorations are all hand-painted. In fact, the painting is so fine on these pieces that people often think they're machine-made. And this piece dates from about 1850, which is like the height of the period when this stuff was made. At auction, this piece would easily go for $4,500. This decorative Chinese vase is from the mid-19th century. They call this motif at the top acanthus leaves. And this is what is called faux bois, basically fake wood, but it looks like wood grain. At auction, this piece would go for $2,500. We have here what seemingly looks like a wooden rooftop, but this is an antique wooden oak tree desk with rustic finish. The guest inherited this oak tree desk as an heirloom. The item shows practical design and craftsmanship of the early 20th century, dating it to 1910.
I'm going to start with the date of this. I think it's 1910.
It is unclear as to who manufactured this desk between two furniture makers, Sidney Barnsley and Ernest Gimson, a popular British architect and furniture-making duo of the 18th to 19th century of great influence. Looking inside, we see the desk is versatile, serving both functional and decorative purposes in modern homes.
You say you had it in your bedroom? Oh, it looks like it.
The sturdy construction and detailed hardware show the quality and attention to detail of its maker. Reflecting on its unique charm and remarkable condition, this handmade desk at an auction could sell for...
I think that I think it would make that at auction in this present state. So I think if you're insuring this, probably even 7,000 or 8,000. And it's going up.
On the show today, we have a collection of etchings by American artists acquired by our guest at an estate sale 15 years ago. This set of 6 etchings was issued by the New Republic magazine in 1924. The collection includes abstract scenes of downtown New York, as well as another etching titled Night Shadows by Edward Hopper. Hopper, known for his work as an American realist painter and printmaker, has contributed to the rarity and allure of these pieces. Remarkably, the etchings are in pristine condition, significantly enhancing their value. We can anticipate that these well-preserved, exceptional etchings will fetch an auction estimate of...
It's going to be around $75,000.
You're kidding.
So I'm not kidding. I'm not.
This circa 1850 autograph album was brought to the show by our guest, who inherited it from his father. Though the autograph pages appear worn, they showcase a myriad of iconic autographs and manuscripts, including letters autographed by Longfellow and a card from Abraham Lincoln. The album also features autographs from Sam Houston, Andrew Johnson, and other iconic political figures in American history. Not only does this autograph album contain signatures from political figures, but it also includes those of other important individuals in American history, such as Stephen Foster, one of America's foremost songwriters and composer. Despite its worn appearance, the collection of signatures in this autograph album is a fascinating piece for any collector to behold. The appraiser values it at around $6,000 to $8,000.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yep.
The guest presented a Civil War autograph collection that belonged to his great-great-grandfather. It was a scrapbook compiled during and after the Civil War. The appraiser praised the effort put into the collection, making it a piece of folk art. It included autographs from prominent figures like General Grant and General Sherman, found underneath their photographs. The other pages contained signatures from Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington. The guest's great-grandfather put a lot of effort into obtaining these signatures.
This one's one of the most beautiful pages in the book.
Yes.
Confederate President Jefferson Davis. So he not only collected Union autographs, he also collected Confederate autographs. On this page, we have the commander of the Confederate forces, Robert E. Lee. Beautiful clipped signature.
One particularly notable signature was that of John Hunt Morgan, who captured the guest's ancestor during the war. The appraiser valued the collection at...
I would want to insure this somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000.
Wow. Wow.
Although they may seem like pure models, these items are actually toys made of cast iron. We're presented with a tally-ho coach and a 3-seat brake. The company that made the 3-seat brake is called Hubley and was based in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, while the one that made the tally-ho coach is called Carpenter.
This was made by Hubley in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and this one was made by Carpenter, who is one of the really classic toy makers of the 1890s.
Minor work has been done on the Hubley 3-seat brake, including some of the figures being recast. Both toys, however, have fine mechanisms that make it look like the horses are galloping when moved.
Of course, it had that great galloping action. This is the way Hubley had these horses gallop, so it really gave nice, realistic motion.
The minor work done on the 3-seat brake has affected its value, and in today's market, it would be worth...
because it has a couple of problems, which I'll tell you about, is worth about $5,000 to $7,000.
The Tally-Ho coach is quite rare, and not many of its type have survived, which significantly affects its value, making it worth...
This toy, I would say, in this condition, would be worth in the $8,000 to $10,000 range.
Oh. Wrapped in history and cherished within the family, this Dutch clock hails from Rotterdam, tracing its origins back to the late 1600s. The maker's name is inscribed on it.
And then exported out of Holland to the rest of continental Europe, and other names ended up on them.
It showcases meticulous craftsmanship, and velvet was added later during restoration. Finely sculpted hands are a testament to its craftsmanship. Adorned with intricate engravings, the clock boasts notable features like an oddly shaped screw and a count wheel. It is one of the earliest pendulum clocks ever made, and despite its age, the clock is in good condition and still strikes accurately.
That the hammer up there causes it to strike the hour and the half hour, and it sounds...
The valuation factors in both the clock's originality and condition, while its historical significance further enhances its allure.
Given its condition, which isn't perfect, but which is nevertheless pretty much original, would bring in the area of about $7,500 to $8,500.
My goodness, that's fantastic.
The guest brought in a totem pole her mom bought as a souvenir during a trip to Thailand 30 years ago. The piece held sentimental value for the guest, but they were unsure of its origins. Despite its resemblance to a Haida pole, a traditional carving style from the Pacific Northwest of the United States, this totem pole was actually a reproduction made in Thailand, specifically for the tourist market. Several clues that gave it away are the unnatural shine of the paint, the stark contrast to the matte pigments used in traditional poles, and the type of wood used. Northwest coast poles are typically crafted from cedar, but this one was made from a wood native to Thailand. Regardless of this, the totem pole still had value as a decorative piece. Despite some damage, likely caused by an accident the guest mentioned, the estimated value is...
This would have a value of $100 to $200.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
So,
the guest inherited this unique shaving cup from their grandfather. The cup featured an image of 11 men and a steam shovel, depicting the crew digging the Panama Canal. Shaving mugs like this one were popular in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, with occupational mugs being particularly sought after by collectors. Since the Panama Canal was completed in 1914, this shaving cup would most likely be from that era. Here on the mug, you can also see the guest grandfather, the one pictured in a white shirt, by his inscribed name on the bottom, a common practice for these personalized mugs. The historical significance and occupational theme of this cup make it a valuable collector's item. At auction, this mug is estimated to fetch about...
If you sold it at auction today, it would not be unreasonable for it to have an estimate of $3,000 to $5,000.
Oh, that shocks me.
Guest brought a soapstone carving to the show, which he got from his great-aunt. The art of soapstone carving in the century is a testament to the rich cultural heritage. The process of soapstone carving is as meticulous as it is delicate. It's carved of a type of stone called steatite, which we commonly call soapstone. It's a very soft stone, which was made in China, and it's an example of some of the very best quality stone carving from that period, quite different from the type of carving that is done using jade or quartz. There's incised, very finely, sort of a vine pattern at the edge of his robe. Its softness makes it easy to carve, while its durability ensures longevity in both decorative and practical uses. The appraiser values it at...
The value of this actually is about $4,000 to $6,000.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Really very nice. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Great-grandfather had great taste.
Thank you.
Our guest brought this antique, which is a Landers Frere Clark picnic basket. The appraiser is amazed by the completeness of this item, noting the presence of the original cork in the flask, a detail they've never encountered before. This unique feature adds to the rarity and value of the item, making it a standout piece. In 2018, the item was valued at $150 to $250 at auction, reflecting its uniqueness and appeal to collectors. The guest family acquired this beautiful piece of art clock in England in the early 1960s. The guest remembered his relative paying around $500 for the clock. The clock was a remarkable example of Black Forest craftsmanship, carved in southern Germany. The clock had intricate details, such as the eagle, dog, and foliage, and its creation date was estimated to be around 1860 or 1870.
This has a French clockworks that was probably made around 1850 or 60.
Despite its age, the clock was described as being in excellent condition. The appraiser valued the clock at approximately $10,000 to $12,000 in today's market. The guest shared an interesting story of acquiring a unique piece from his mother. Originally, it belonged to a man named Harry Hutchinson. The appraiser identified the item as an escapement model for a clock. The inscription on the piece depicted that it was made for the Hutchinson School, suggesting that Hutchinson ran a school for watchmakers. The model was estimated to have been made in the 19th century, possibly in the 1880s. The item served as a working model for students to graduate from the school. The appraiser admired the remarkable craftsmanship, highlighting the wonderful engraving, beautiful screws, palette, and adjustable pieces. The item was valuable due to its rarity and significance in the world of mechanical watches. Despite missing a few pieces, the appraiser valued the object at
something like this in a shop. I could easily see $1,500 for it, maybe $2,000 for it.
Well, thank you. I'm surprised it's worth that much money.
It's a very beautiful piece of metalwork.
This item is a cool ship model. The guest snagged it at an auction for just $175. His wife saw it and thought it would be a neat pond yacht. It's from a long tradition of sailors' crafts. They'd carve these during long voyages, often for extra cash. The expert says this piece is older, likely carved around 1900. It's not a typical American boat. Its unique appearance makes it even more collectible.
I have to tell you, you don't have an American boat, though. You have a foreign piece. So this was probably a sailor that traveled the seas to Asia somewhere.
The wood hints at its origin. Teak and bamboo point to Asia. Model ships are hot collectibles. Wonder what this is worth? Experts' jaw drops. Potentially worth.
It would be worth even a little bit more. Right. But your $175 actually should be worth an investment of about $5,000 to $7,000.
Wow. Thank you. That's great. It really is.
Updated price of this piece is a mere $300 to $500.
The vase marked Quasana belonged to the owner's great-grandmother. The base inscription reads Long Wee alongside Clogione. Long Wee is the factory name, which means fencing, referring to the Asian enamel.
It's in the northeast corner of France,
okay.
And they specialized in making pottery and porcelain.
It's a bride's basket featuring a rope twist top. Traditional cloisonne involves metal fences filled with enamel. Long Wee used black ink borders rather than metal wire work. Crackled glazing indicates its pottery nature. It's not porcelain. The vase likely dates back to the 1880s. The effort put into the piece transforms it into a beautiful piece of pottery.
I would say, at auction, you would be looking at a price of around $1,000 to $1,500. It's really a beautiful piece of pottery.
Wow.
Thanks for bringing it down.
Thank you.
The guest brought in a doll that he inherited from his grandparents. This doll was made by the Simon & Halbig firm, known for its beautiful bisques. It has the original sheen to its composition body, original clothes, leather boots, wool outfit, and original mohair wig. The firm started making French fashion dolls, then dolly-faced dolls, before moving to character dolls like this one. Furthermore, this doll is not marked because not all Simon & Halbig's dolls are marked. This character-faced doll is special for its little mustache, nicely molded eyebrows, beautiful eyes, and eye lines. With its beautiful modeling and quality bisques, this character doll is worth
$3,000 to $4,000.
Wow.
If he was marked, you could go to the higher end.
Her father, a collector of antique toys and construction equipment, had acquired it at a show 20 to 25 years ago. The guest instantly fell in love with the piece and jokingly admitted to stealing it from her father's collection. The model is a rare and exceptional item. It was most likely a salesman's sample meticulously crafted to showcase the intricate workings of a real road grader to potential customers. The details are incredible. The rotating wheels made of cast aluminum, brass parts, and even a tiny wooden plank bed. Every component, from the blade to the ratcheting axle, moved flawlessly, demonstrating the functionality of the machine. The value of such a unique piece was difficult to determine. While similar salesman samples have appeared at auctions, this particular model's exceptional quality set it apart. Its value at auction is...
At such a sale, I could see a piece like this bringing somewhere, between $5,000 and $6,000.
However, at a recent auction, the price increased to $6,500.
And then maybe more. It's just because it is truly extraordinary. I mean, I've just never seen such an amazing piece of equipment.
Today's guest brought a fascinating collection of baseballs tied to the historic 1956 World Series between the New York Yankees and the Brooklyn Dodgers.
So you have letters of authenticity of all of these. Yes, provenance means everything.
The collection includes 4 baseballs given by Hank Soar, an American League umpire. Hank Soar was the first base umpire during Don Larson's perfect game for the Yankees in the 1956 World Series. Don Larson, the baseball includes signatures from the Yankees, Dodgers, and the game's umpires. The Yankees ball has signatures from 19 players, one of whom was Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra was an 18-time All-Star and won 10 World Series championships as a player, more than any other player in MLB history. The Dodgers ball also features signatures from legends, one of whom was Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson was an American professional baseball player who became the first African-American to play in the MLB in the modern era. The umpire ball, signed by Hank Soar, adds a unique touch to this collection. The highlight among the balls, however, is the one pitched by Don Larson, whose value is said to be worth
$15,000 to $18,000.
We present a wristwatch with elegance and luxurious appeal, but there's more than meets the eye. It's a Rolex diver's watch. The guest received this wristwatch as a gift from an ex-boyfriend.
In the movie, and she said, "Oh my goodness, Helen, that's your exact watch."
The Rolex diver's watch was made exclusively for the company Compagnie Maritime d'Expertise, commonly known as COMEX.
Oil exploration. And what's special about this one is Rolex specifically made this watch.
A renowned company that specializes in deep-sea operations and engineering. The wristwatch features a helium valve that helps professional divers navigate pressurized underwater environments.
The watch, the Sea Dweller, but this watch is a very, very special watch.
Really?
Yeah.
This watch stands out for its dual use by both divers and watch enthusiasts. Although extremely rare, this watch is missing its bezel used to track immersion time, which affects its value. At auction, this Rolex diver's watch, celebrated for its robust functionality and luxury, would accrue...
At auction, £20,000 to £30,000.
No. Did you say 1,000?